Adventure is deeply personal. What is an adventure? For some, it's a ride up the highway. For others, it's getting out there in the dirt and as far from the blacktop as possible. What makes an adventure bike? After thousands of miles of riding on and off the road, our conclusion is that it's the one that delivers the adventure that exists in your mind's eye.
We made it across, which was I was chuffed and so impressed that we were able to get those bikes.
And then we kind of got a little bit bogged in the sand on the other side, so we had to give it a bit of a push and scoot the bikes through, but we both got through, and then we got to the other side of this thing, and I was like, "Wow! I did not think that was going to happen."
The sense of satisfaction was I was just stoked.
Yeah,
because we gave it a shot, and I wasn't sure we would get those bikes across there, but we did, and what a sense of satisfaction that was to be.
Yeah,
looking at that in the rear view, heading up to the road, we could see the telegraph poles. We knew we were close to asphalt, and so it was very, very satisfying.
But that was a highlight, and that whole trip, that whole section of road, which I guess it probably would have been, what do you reckon, 30 miles or something?
I think at least, because we made good pace through the first part of the trail, and I think it was 30 miles, I'd say at least. Yeah.
I mean, not that we did anything smart, like count the odor or anything, but whatever it is, it was about 30 miles, and we ended up back on the highway to MOAB,
which is good and bad, because it's kind of like you're disappointed that you're leaving the trail. The trails are so much fun, but you have to do that, but you still can.
I was ready for a cold beer, I must say, because it was hot.
Yeah, we did not prepare well for the temperatures that we were dealing with.
I didn't even take a Camelback. At least you had a Camelback. So
I had a Camelback.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we get to MOAB, and while we're enjoying a nice cold beer at the pub there,
that was I enjoyed that beer more so than probably a beer in a long time. After all that riding and after reaching into MOAB.
It was a long day.
Nice rewards.
Yeah, and we covered a lot of ground that day.
We did, yeah. We did a lot of riding on the asphalt that day, actually.
Yeah. So then we're in the bar, and this lady that we met in the cafe says you should do this thing called the White Rim Trail at the Canyonlands. She's done it in a four-wheel drive, and they went camping when they did it. So we were like, right, White Rim Trail, Google that one. So we have a bit of a look on the old phone, and sure enough, it looks epic. It's 100-odd miles of, they call it moderate to difficult four-wheel driving for high suspension vehicles.
Right.
Which I guess that means like lifted vehicles, probably not your conventional Subaru or something. You need something that's got a bit more ground clearance.
As we later learned.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we ordered our permit. Now, Canyonlands, the White Rim Trail, they have 50 permits a day that they give out. Right? 25 of them, you can just rock up and take your chances and get one. 25 of them, you can book in advance. So we booked in advance and got our permit. It was free. Didn't cost any money. And I guess they limit the thing because, it's a pretty fragile environment down there, and also it's extreme kind of terrain. So you don't want like hundreds of people down there breaking down, and
right.
Because they say on that trail that if you break down, it's going to cost $2,000 to get your car out of there. That's the recovery fee.
That makes sense.
And I can imagine that, because that car that we saw broken down, I mean, I think I can't imagine how that thing's getting out of there unless they picked it up with a helicopter or got a mechanic in there to fix it.
I would love to know how they do that, because it was really, really a challenge just to get to where we got to see that broken down vehicle. So, but if you think back when we were at the ranger station talking to the rangers about the trip, and it sounded like they were cautioning us, and they were giving us the estimated times and the challenges, and we're like, yeah, we got this, don't worry about it. We're like, we'll Toby Price through that.
For us, adventure means access. It means being able to point the bike in the direction you want to go and ride confidently and safely regardless of the terrain. It means you're going to load it up and head away for days or weeks on end. It means you're probably going to drop it and have to pick it up. It means the terrain is going to get rough, and while the bike may be capable of going over it, so do you.
Yeah, so the guy, remember the Ranger? Now, I've got a video of this, actually, so that, because from time to time I can exaggerate a little bit, but...
You have been known.
I have been known, but the guy said to us, he goes, it's 12 to 14 hours.
Right.
Most people do it in 2 days, and then if you read online, it says 2 to 3 days. Mm-hmm. So Declan and I have looked at each other, and it's like... It's 100 miles, and you reckon it's going to take 14 hours? Don't be stupid. We can punch this out in 6 hours.
6 hours.
We were like convinced 6 hours. Yeah. We've got up and had a leisurely breakfast. We've potted around, had some nice breakfast in MOAB, prepared for the day. We go to the servo and buy a bunch of Gatorade, and
we loaded the
load up you filled up your Camelback, and we probably had like 12 bottles of Gatorade or more.
At
14.
Least, and we needed all of them. I mean,
yeah. Well, I thought we were being a bit extreme when we got it all, but halfway through the thing, I thought I was going to be like dying on the track of dehydration because it was so friggin' hot. But anyway, so we get into the... it's called the Islands in the Sky, and it's in... there's 3 big sections of Canyonlands National Park. There's Needles, there's another one which I forget, and then there's Islands in the Sky. So we're at this one, and then we take this Schaefer Trail down to the White Rim Trail, and the Schaefer Trail, I shit you not, is basically switchbacks down this sheer cliff. And if you were not careful and you're a bit sort of anxious and going a bit quick or just not careful, you're dead set 1,000 feet over the edge of that cliff.
I remember we were communicating through the Nolan helmets, and we were in awe. I mean, when we first got on there and we first got to those switchbacks, both of us were like little kids. We were in such awe of what we were seeing. Yeah. And
we'd have to stop every other corner just to take a picture.
Just to take it in, because it was just breathtaking.
And then you would get to that point going down the switchbacks where the road just stretches out forever in front of you. And you think to yourself, this is just epic. It's like, epic, how cool is this? And these are not... This is not your conventional cliff. This is not like a little mini cliff or a...
Which is why there
a
was
knoll, a grassy knoll.
Yeah.
This is like at least 1,000, 1,500 feet down from like sheer drop.
Well, you go off, and I think that's it. It's a case of, it would be helicopter to get you out of there. But it wasn't for the faint-hearted, and I don't know what we were actually thinking. I think we were in awe of what we were seeing.
Yeah.
And we were just captivated by it, but I don't think we were thinking of the dangers of it, actually.
Yeah, well,
after the fact.
I certainly wasn't, but once we got down into the canyon, remember we were driving along the road, and the road itself, the first bit of the road, I guess, is pretty well maintained. It was in pretty good shape. You're sort of ripping along, Toby pricing it down the road, and then you get to the White Rim Trail, you turn right, and off you go. Now it starts to deteriorate a bit there because I guess fewer cars are going down there. Some people would just go up and down that Schaefer Trail just for shits and giggles.
Yes.
And, but not too many people do the full
loop.
Monty.
Yeah.
So we get down there and we were like 7 miles into the trip, I guess.
Yeah.
And we bumped into that ranger and
yes.
She asked for our permit. So if you're thinking of doing it, you've got to have a permit.
Right.
And they will ask for it. And then she said, do you have enough water? Are you well hydrated? And I was like, why is that? And she goes, well, it's like 14 hours to get there.
We've tested big adventure bikes before. They are incredibly capable, but often ultimately more capable than the rider who sits on it. Our test of the Royal Enfield Himalayan revealed a bike that is more capable off-road, adequate on the road, allowed us to feel that we could go anywhere because it never pushed our limitations and we felt in control at all times. So while this bike may not be the prettiest, the fastest, or the most technically advanced or powerful, it ultimately didn't need to be.